So, New York Times posted an article talking about the Bengals' positional group concerns levels, analyzing 3 spots on defense. It's actually what's posted by Paul. You know, on this channel, we do love Paul, absolute legend. But let's go ahead and dissect this because I'm not really, to be honest, too concerned about our defense. I really am not. I know last year we struggled a lot. And listen, last year you have to put everything in context. We had no quarterback for half the season. You know, look at the Seahawks game when we did have Joe Burrow. Our defense won us that game. Single-handedly, our defense won us that game. And that was without Joe Burrow in the lineup. So that's another reason why I'm not too worried about our defense, is that when we had Joe at quarterback, our defense gelled. When we played the 49ers, our defense gelled. But the second that Joe goes down, Cam Taylor-Britt goes down for 4 or 5 games. We also lose DJ Reader late in the season. I mean, you start to fall apart when your playmaker starts to leave. Now, this offseason, we fixed a lot of issues when it came to situations that we kind of messed up last year. We had Nick Scott. Didn't work out. We got Von Bell to replace him. We moved Dax Hill to corner because he's better at corner. We got Geno Stone to replace him. We lost Cheeto. We now have Dax Hill and Josh Newton at cornerback position with Mike Hilton, with Cam Taylor-Britt. Our biggest problem and our biggest spot, I would say, is our issue going into this season because I really do like our secondary. I know not everyone agrees with me there, but I think our secondary, our safety position is absolutely fine. We have a lot of young guys, but that's why we have Von Bell to help leadership-wise, and that's why we have a couple other guys leadership-wise, like Mike Hilton. So I think our biggest problem is our defensive line, which was last year as well. Losing DJ Reader is never going to be easy. Obviously, drafting, Chris Jenkins, Jackson, it's going to help out a lot. Picking up Sheldon Rankins in the offseason, a nice interior pass rusher, which, again, last year, our biggest problem was shutting down the run. And that's not even a question on earth. That is a fact. We could not shut down the run. If you're like, well, we also couldn't shut down the pass. You can't shut down the pass if you can't shut down the run. Okay? The only way you can shut down the pass is if you can stop the run. Because if you can't stop the run, teams are going to keep running on you, and then eventually you have to commit to the run, and then they're going to throw the ball on you and dot you to fluff up down the field. So in order to stop the pass, you need to stop the run. That's like bare minimum. That's basic level football. You need to stop the run to stop the pass. So, because even if you stop the pass, if they can still run the ball on you, it doesn't matter. Point is, Chris Jenkins, BJ Hill, Jackson, that's going to be what we are most concerned about. If that works out to shut down the run. Because we do play Derrick Henry twice a year, and that's still going to be a scary sight to see. We play Nick Chubb twice a year if he stays healthy. And again, I hope he does. I don't want to play him, but I do like him as a guy and a player. Anyway, and then, who else? Whatever the Steelers end up coming out with, I think Jalen Warren's a better running back than Najee Harris. Point is, we have to play a lot of tough teams this year, running back-wise. A lot of tough running backs. That's going to be my biggest area of concern. Because I think Sheldon Rankins is going to help us out to get more interior pass rush. Myles Murphy is more of a pass rusher than he is a run stuffer. And I have a lot of faith he's going to get better and be able to progress at rushing the quarterback. We still got Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson, and I'm still very confident in those guys. It's going to be shutting down the run is the biggest concern. There's nothing else in this defense I'm concerned about except for shutting down the run. The first thing they say, Paul says, is the defensive line is the biggest concern. 36% of fans say that this is their biggest concern. My concern ranking is third. I think this is number one. I think the only thing you can be concerned about is the ability to shut down the run. If you can't shut down the run, your defense is going to fail. Like, it's going to fall apart no matter what. You need to shut down the run. I think Sheldon Rank is going to help us out with pass rushing. Miles Murphy taking a step up helps us out with pass rushing. But again, it's the run that really is the most concerning in the end. He does talk about on here how watching the AFC North games last year, all three opponents shoved the ball down Bengals' throat on the ground. It was one of the worst seasons of run defense in the AFC North since the division formed 2002. And yeah, again, that's what I'm most concerned about when it comes to defensive line. Everything else, I think, will get better and figure itself out with, again, Miles Murphy having a good second sophomore year, Chris Jenkins taking off, McKinley Jackson having a good year, Cam Sample kind of just being himself, and then Joseph Asai hopefully also taking a step up as well. Number 2 he has here is actually the secondary. He says this is his most concerning area. I'm still not concerned at all. Again, maybe I have a lot of faith. And when he says secondary, they're not talking about safeties. They're just talking about corners. It's like Cam Taylor-Bright is, I know we lost Cheeto, right? But Cheeto was not the same after his injury to his back, okay? That's just a fact of the matter is. I think Dax Hill is going to do really good at corner. And if you think Dax Hill is going to do awful at corner and he's going to suck, then I could see the concern. I really could. But with that being said, as long as Dax Hill is somewhat serviceable to good at cornerback, I'm not scared at all of this cornerback position. Because again, Cam Taylor-Bright is arguably a top 10 cornerback in the NFL. Mike Hilton is arguably a top 10 slot corner in the NFL. Yes, DJ Turner is going to have to take a step up, but again, that's barring the fact that Dax Hill doesn't play very good and takes over. And because they're the same outside cornerback position, it's very possible that Dax Hill actually takes over for DJ Turner on the outside. Josh Newton and Poison Ivy, obviously Poison Ivy coming back from injury, but Josh Newton being our 5th round pick this year, I think he could have a really good rookie season. Again, am I being hopeful? Am I being, extra hopeful, maybe to a point that it's illogical? I don't think so, but I will say you kind of have to be. I mean, on if you look at everything on paper and you look at everything by the books, like every little detail, then yes, you should be concerned about our secondary. But you have to look at it as, a little bit of hope, a little bit of hopium. I'm projecting here. I'm not going based off of, concrete details, but I think, and again, my belief is that we're going to see a good secondary this year because, again, if you can shut down the run and you can make teams one-dimensional and they have to pass the ball, I think we have a good, young, fast secondary that can shut down most teams that we play. And that's another factor in all three of these, by the way, is we don't have to play a tough schedule. We have the 6th easiest schedule this upcoming year. So while, again, you might say, I'm concerned about this, this, and this, well, guess what? We don't have a tough schedule to play. And as long as we don't have a tough schedule, a lot of my worries goes away, right? If we had to play Justin Jefferson and Addison, at all this season, which we don't, I would be very concerned. Because both of those guys are going to attack a young secondary like us and rip us apart. If we had to play the Texans this year, we might have to play in the playoffs, but in the regular season, I would be very concerned because they have the ability to rip our secondary apart. We don't play those teams. We play in the AFC North, which honestly, other than the Brownies and us, really, they don't know what receivers are. I mean, the Steelers got rid of Deontay Johnson. They got George Pickens. The other side of George Pickens, they don't really have a receiver. The Ravens have Zay Flowers, who's really freaking good. Rashad Bateman, who I think he's good. I think he's underrated. But nonetheless, though, we don't play in a very tough division when it comes to receiving core. We don't play the best receivers in the NFL. Okay, so that's kind of how I look at things. When it comes to our secondary is you kind of also go based off of who you play. And if we played a tough, matchups, I would be scared. Now, once you get to the playoffs, are we going to play the tough matchups? Well, outside the Texans, and if we get lucky, don't have to play the Dolphins in the playoffs, which we don't have to play them in the regular season. We do have to play the Eagles, which is going to be a little bit tough. But when it comes to the playoffs, if we luck out and only have to play the Chiefs, which I'm not scared of their secondary. Marquise Brown is good, but I'm not scared of it. Yeah, as I was saying, if we don't have to play the Chiefs, then Bills, I'm not really scared of. Ravens, I'm not scared of their secondary. I mean, sorry, their wide receiving core. When I say secondary, I mean receiving core. I'm not really scared of their receiving core. Yeah, no, there's no receiving core I'm really scared of in the playoffs outside the Dolphins. Dolphins and Texans are the scariest receiving cores in the playoffs. And even then, as long as we luck out of playing those teams, I'm not scared. Number 3 he has here is going to be the safety position. And again, that's another position I don't understand why this would be a concern. He said my concern ranking is 4th, which is funny because he only has 3. I don't think there really is that level of concern. Geno Stone and Von Bell are really great options. Geno Stone's coming over here from Baltimore, had a very, great season with the Ravens. Very good ball hawking type safety, can kind of more or less act in very similar to what we have seen out of Jesse Bates. Less of a run defender, but more of a just, ball hawking coverage guy. Von Bell, really great at, again, a little bit older, but really great at knowing Lou Anarumo's defense, able to help out these young guys and kind of steer them in the right direction. Jordan Battle coming off a fantastic rookie season. Going to have a great sophomore season. I guess Tyson Anderson would be our biggest concern here. But even then, I mean, we're probably not going to see much of him because either if he does stay healthy, he'll probably be utilized a lot in the special teams, where he is really good at, actually. And also, we'll probably just kind of move different packages with Dax Hill. Again, I think our biggest problem is run defense. I think that's really what I'm scared of the most. And outside of run defense, I'm not really scared about this defense at all. I think this defense is really good, and as long as we can shut down the run, we don't have to worry too much about this defense. And again, a lot of it does come down to who we play. I understand if we go to the playoffs, we do have to play the best teams. But when you get to the playoffs, you have to play a total of, well, if we get a first round bye, you have to play a total of 3 teams. If you don't, you have to play a total of 4 teams. You can always luck out and play easier matchups. If you win the division, you get to play either the 7 seed, 6 seed, or 5th seed, which should be somewhat easy. And then divisional, again, just luck out, play the Buffalo Bills or Chiefs, and you're fine. I don't know. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, guys. I'll see you guys next one.